Stop that. Stop that. Stop that. I hear him chat to the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the walking. Just too sharp with the prize. White girls let it tell me I'm awesome, yeah. Hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch my please use caution. Cold like 0 degrees. I'm out the cage, gotta let out the beast. Revolutionary, gotta let out the streets. Locked in a cage, I'ma let out the sheets. We came for one man, forget my peace. You take the west side, take on the east. I'ma put him in the cage, never let out the. Yeah, I hear him chat to the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the boys. Man so tough, but mans keep walking, yeah. Just too sharp with the prize. White girls, let it tell me I'm awesome, yeah. Hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch my please use caution. Stop that. Stop that. Stop that.
Mike Ryan has taken a personal mental health day because of what happened to the Heat the last couple of nights.
They suck, right?
There was a game last night?
All I kept thinking was, how is Jeremy going to spin this?
Yeah, it's better to ignore it. Stugotz, for those people who do not know, I announced that when they lost to Memphis last 2 nights ago, it was the single worst loss of the Heat season because you are playing a terrible team that doesn't have John Morant and you're losing at home. I don't know if they lost by double digits, but they're having all sorts of trouble scoring and their defense isn't good. And that's a bit of a stunner. And what Boston did to them, Boston has announced all season. Milwaukee just fired its coach because they're not as good as Boston. Boston has been the standard in the league. And on a night, Stugotz, when the Knicks, did Jokic play last night?
Yes, he did.
The Knicks,
yes.
The Knicks beat,
I had the same thought when I saw the score.
The Knicks beat the Nuggets by 40-something points. And on that night, I think I have this right. Correct me if I have it wrong, Jeremy. Is that the single greatest true shooting percentage night a team has ever had? What Boston did to Miami last night in making their defense, allegedly great defense, their true shooting percentage, what they made from 3 and what they made from 2, I don't know that I've seen a lot of games in the history of basketball. Can someone tell me, would you do me a favor? I know some of you don't like the advanced metrics. Would you just give me Wilt Chamberlain's true shooting percentage for his career?
Wilt is still?
Because he wasn't making threes, and true shooting percentage includes, Stugotz, like how it's the three-pointer's worth more than 2 points, and so it changes how it is we do some of these calculations. If you miss 50% of your threes, but you're still making 50% of your threes, it's better than making 60 and 65% of your twos because you're just getting an extra point every time. What was Wilt's career true shooting percentage, and what did the Boston Celtics do last night in terms of true shooting percentage?
Wilt Chamberlain had a 54.7 true shooting percentage. I'm not sure what the Celtics' true shooting percentage was last night, but there was a moment during the game about 4 minutes left in the second quarter where Amin and I looked at each other and we realized the Celtics have missed 6 shots and 5 of them are from 3. They were making everything, whether they were covered or not, but the Heat's defense was, it was pitiful last night. They gave up 143 points.
Whoa. Let me stop you there. Boston is overwhelming offensively, and that happened to the Heat. It's not that their defense is
right, it was both.
Just shitty. Well, hold on a second, because I've just looked it up. This is unbelievable. So Mike Shore is telling me, let me see if I have this right. This can't be right. Is this right? Okay, this is from NBA Stats. NBA Stats on X. NBA Stat of the Day, number 369. It's a picture of Drew Holiday, White, and Jason Tatum. Heading into today, there were 124,646 team games with shooting data in NBA history. One team had ever shot 80% true shooting percentage. That was, okay, so what I was seeing is not inaccurate. That is as well as basketball can be played by an offensive team, and there was nobody who was going to stop that. Now, I will tell you, the Heat do stink the last 4 games. Like, they can't do anything offensively, and when you can't do anything offensively, your defensive effort is going to fall apart. But Boston very much did that to the Miami Heat last night.
Absolutely. Look, the Heat offense did look a little bit better in the first half last night, and they scored 110 points, which is certainly better than it's been the last several games. Kristaps Porzingis was hitting every single shot. Like, these guys, as you just mentioned.
And then he got hurt because that's what always happens to Porzingis.
Right, well,
but it's an upgrade. They get Al Horford in the starting 5 now. How about that?
He landed on Bam's foot. It's not like it's like an injury thing.
It looks like he's out for a couple of weeks.
Dirty play or?
No.
I'm just asking. It's not past the All-Star break, so I didn't see the game. I'm just asking. I'm trying.
I thought you were watching every game now.
Well, after the All-Star break.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
after the Super Bowl. We went over this. Come on, man. And then they traded away Culture, so I'm still on the fence here. I'm leaning towards no, but I'm still on the fence here as to whether or not. Because, for the best of the show, the betterment of the show, we need a Heat guy.
Yeah,
because it's a local team for the local hour.
Well, what happened to the Heat truth teller character you were working on?
Well, it's not past the Super Bowl.
Talks
yet.
out of the side of his mouth. I would like to hear from him on occasion because this is a bad day for Jeremy. It's a bad day for Mike Ryan. It's a bad day if you care about the Miami Heat because
Jeremy's devastated.
This is weird. I mean, it's weird. It's not just that they've been inconsistent. Look, we talked about this last year, okay, Stugotz? When your shots are not going down, you look like a team that is inconsistent. 2 years ago, they were the best three-point shooting team in the NBA. Last year, weirdly, they had a lot of open looks from 3 and couldn't make them very well. Now they're having trouble scoring offensively. They just made a trade with what was a valuable chip. Those expiring contracts are valuable chips. Within the business of what the Heat do, they need to. I don't like that they do it any more than Heat fans do. They need to get under the luxury tax because that's how they run their business. I don't like it any more than you do. And so the trade was the contract of Terry Rozier that you now have for multiple years because he needs to help you offensively and defensively.
He had 7 points last
Well,
night.
look at what happened the last two games. What's he been? He was minus 20 in like 19 minutes in the first game, and this takes a minute. I wouldn't blame this on him. He just got here.
And he was minus 28 last night.
I believe he's been 6 for 21 from the field in the first couple of games, so obviously adjusting. Now, you saw flashes.
Getting nerves out.
Scary Terry.
You saw flashes of what he can do for the offense at different points of last night, where in the pick and roll with Bam, that was a positive thing. But,
Minus
obviously he's gotten off to a really bad start. I mean, they lost by 33. So minus 28
so that's
makes
a
sense.
positive. There you go. No, wait a minute. They lost by 33. He was only minus 28,
Yeah.
so he was 5 points better than the rest of them.
Than the team overall.
I mean,
I don't
Bam.
know if that's exactly how
Not
it
at
works.
all
that's not how it works.
That's
That's
Not at all
not.
how
It's
it
not how it works. But yes, he contributed to that minus 33. But I'm just saying,
It wasn't all of it.
it wasn't all of it.
I mean, Highsmith was just minus 8. I mean, that's a game, huh?
I mean, look, late in the game, he hit a few threes, but look, they're not a complete team. They've been dealing with injuries all season long.
Wait.
No, not a complete team as of they don't have Jaime Jaquez and Kevin Love, who have been an important part of what they do.
Jeremy.
Jaime Jaquez MVP?
Jeremy.
Who the hell's Cole Swider?
At least rookie of the year, right?
Jeremy, go sit in the penalty box.
He deserves it.
Jaquez. No, Jaquez is great.
He's a good player. I know.
Go
I
sit in the
understand it.
penalty
I get
box,
it.
Jeremy.
Is O. Robinson other Robinson?
Don't tell me how hurt they are when Bam, Butler, and Hero are playing and they're getting dragged by the greatest true shooting percentage. And don't talk to me about Jaquez. Like, I mean, what are you doing?
Was he going to stop the 80% true shooting percentage?
I mean,
They lost by 33.
Billy, how is it possible?
Scary Terry was only minus 28, though, so 5-point difference.
So was Bam, by the way, minus 28.
Steve Martin.
Billy, we already did this. How can you possibly be what I need you to be before the All-Star break, which is what this show desperately needs, which is somebody who pulls on the other side of this obnoxious heat rope, because Jeremy is taking it in the other direction. Jeremy is sitting here being willing after that game to talk to me about injuries when you've got Hero, Bam, and Butler out there. That's your team.
And Rozier.
Billy did start the segment saying the Heat suck now, huh?
Well, I was asking an honest question. I'm a journalist, man. I break news. I do some reporting. I do stuff here and there. So I was just asking.
You
Can't have my pulse on everything.
You are right that you are a journalist who breaks news. Did you break that Marlins uniform news yesterday? Is that something that you broke?
Yeah. I mean, I guess you could say that.
What's the news? Because I have no idea.
It's just, today there's going to be some new unis.
Why are you
dropping.
whispering it? Say it with your chest, Billy.
Yeah, I don't know.
Has Mike not taught you anything?
Well, I
Own
mean,
this.
I'm
Be the
not trying
Marlins guy.
I could do it humbly. We
Yeah,
don't have to go around and peacock anytime we do
I'm fine
anything.
with meek Marlins guy.
It seems like he's not sure if he can say it.
I'm fine with you being meek
Well, I
Marlins
mean,
reporter.
Meek Bill.
It was seemingly
Hey!
confirmed.
Wait a minute, this is a new
great.
character. Meek Bill is a new pop culture rapper that we. In fact, if you could give us Marlins news as wrapped information that is Meek Bill.
That's a tough spot.
No,
Yes.
thank you.
Do it, Billy.
Well, you started this.
I did no such thing.
Report this with your chest. You broke Marlins news yesterday.
I just, there's going to be some new uniforms.
Wrong
that are
again.
being released today
Wrong.
at Fan Fest. New looks. and some
Do it
things,
better
you
than
know, little this, little that, spruce things up a bit. You know what I mean?
Billy, you
New
just
season, new threads. You know what I mean?
Fan Fest tonight.
saying. Yeah, you check it out if you want. If not, whatever. Let's start the season. You'll see them on them. That's all. That kind of thing.
Brad.
you announced that you're a journalist.
Yeah.
You
But
ha-
I'm not the story. That's the sign of a good journalist. A journalist just reports the
Interesting.
things and moves on to go do the
Gets
next
out
thing.
of the way.
Already
Yeah.
on to the next beat, like a bloodhound. You know what I mean? There I am.
And if you
Sniffing
subscribe,
around, looking for my killed duck.
if you would have subscribed to his Twitter, you would have known this months ago.
Who?
Oh wait, that's Mike. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just give it out for free. I'm like the newspaper used to be. Well, it was never free, but it was if you put 1 quarter in the machine, because there was never really a way to police that situation. You know what I mean? It was an honor system. That's back when we were a proper society. You know what I mean? You'd go in, you'd put a quarter, 35 cents, whatever it is. You take one, because that's what you paid for. And if something happened, you had to put another quarter in there to get another one. Don't empty it out. You didn't pay for all of them. You paid for one. And society knew that, and we lived by that rule. Except the Miami New Times. That was free. That you could open up and take as many as you want. That was a weird thing. No wonder did they go under?
Well, they haven't. and
They give it out for free. What kind of business plan is that? You know what I mean? Anyway,
the reason, thank you, Bloodhound
off to
Billy.
my next one.
Meek,
Left it there for you.
Really
He's on to
known.
the next.
Meek Bill just breaks news casually, just takes a dump on your show, like bends over, squats, no shame, starts shaking.
Like kicks the grass after.
yes,
Why do they do that?
that's a good question. Put it on the poll, please, Juju at Le Batard Show, because my dog does
It
that.
seems like
All
their
dogs
way
do
of
it.
wiping. No, it's kind of like let me do something and
I
like
don't
that
know.
will get the.
Why, do you know why dogs? Put it on the poll. Do you know why dogs kick after they have shit, kick grass or try?
Is it only after shitting or peeing too?
No, with my dog, it's only after pooping, and
Yes.
it's because I always thought he's trying to cover it up, but that doesn't make any sense to me. So maybe somebody can
I
explain.
think he's
it
trying
to
to
me.
push the scent. Just so
That's
people
exactly
can-
right.
Yeah.
Sometimes I do that when I'm walking out of the bathroom.
He's trying to push it away.
No.
Trying to spread it out further
His
because they
territory.
mark
Yeah.
territory
Oh,
with their
really?
scent. Yep.
Thank you. I did not know that. The thing that
No one looked it up. We're not sure. I mean, you guys
No,
are
but
guessing.
it
I
sounds
told you.
right.
Okay.
It sounds
All
right.
right.
Tony told you because he's confident. I told you because I looked it up.
Okay,
But he was
good.
right.
Okay.
So
Sounds correct.
do
Thank
all you want. Can't get me off your scent.
Tato pio.
Dog. I am. I need to shoot something up there. You know what
Whoa.
I mean? A little.
The
One
way
of those
humans do that is you close the door very quickly after pooping, so the scent stays in there. So when the next person walks in, it's like, ooh, what happened here?
Do you open a window? Do you
No,
have a
never.
window? Really? Never.
I prefer to poop in bathrooms with no windows.
I'm saying afterwards to air it out.
Keep it
you open
nice
the
and
window.
tight.
Right.
I hate air fresheners. You know what I mean?
He keeps the smell in. He enjoys his own scent. I mean,
Can we move this on to other subjects, please?
Jaime Jaquez for Rookie of the Year or MVP.
Go sit outside again. Go back
that's
to the
right.
penalty box. Get out of here.
He walked right into that one.
So getting back to what it is that we were saying about the New Times, I told you a couple of days ago there are any assortment of things that are making me sad these days. And one of the things that made me sad was that my wife was needed help with some boxing up of Christmas ornaments. I don't know when you guys do this, but this was about a week ago. So I don't know.
About 6 weeks ago.
I don't know when so before Christmas you were boxing up Christmas ornaments. Okay.
I've made the argument that January is the messiest month for houses because of things like that. You got crap you're still trying to put away. It's just a messy month.
In fairness, Stugotz is Jewish. So.
Thank you. Yeah.
So he boxed up his Christmas ornaments before Christmas. Okay.
Well, he wouldn't be our Christmas expert, I wouldn't think.
No, I boxed up all the dreidels, my menorah, the candle,
You
the
don't
lighters.
box up a single thing. When's the last time you boxed up anything?
So my wife, for the Christmas ornaments, we need a newspaper to wrap them up so they have some cushion and stuff. And so I have to go outside. And now keep in mind, I live in a tourist area.
Oh, no.
I live in an area that has a lot of hotels. It's a lot of people who would want or have newspapers because perhaps they don't have computers. And I'm going from place to place, fundamentally incapable of finding a Miami Herald, the newspaper that birthed all of this, that raised my ability to make a career at this, and couldn't find it anywhere. And only when I happened upon the free box where I found the New Times, a diminished state of the New Times. It is not what it used to be.
A lot thinner.
It's 5 pages.
Of ads.
Big story on Griselda this week, though.
Is that any good? Have any of you seen any of that?
I'm getting to it.
Netflix, Griselda, Sofia Vergara. She is playing the godmother, the Colombian godmother who went through a murderous rampage that tore through Miami and left blood in our malls and in our streets because that's the Miami I grew up in, reading a Miami Herald that had all of our streets shot up because this woman was leading a drug cartel as cocaine came and built our city. It is now I'm assuming that this will be, by word of mouth, if it is done even moderately well, a giant Netflix hit. I've got to assume that, but none of you have seen it yet. I've seen the ads all over the place. I see giant billboards all over the place. I'm assuming Netflix is spending this kind of money on this because they know it's an easy hit. She is perfect for that part. No matter who it is that you think can play a Colombian godmother who kills, or no matter what you think of Sofia Vergara as an actress, she is perfect for getting people to watch that because of who she is and because of how great she is in general.
With the narco success that Netflix has had, they're like, all right, what other stories can we tell them? This is kind of a perfect one. From what I've heard, Gino told me, he's the only person that I know has watched it because it came out last night. Gino said it was excellent, the first episode, so I'm excited to see it.
I feel like I'd be a terrible criminal / drug lord.
You would.
You would.
You know what I mean?
You'd be Meek Bill.
I just want to I'd stick to my crime and then kind of try to lay low and not be too flashy and go around the streets and draw blood everywhere.
I'd love to watch a documentary of Billy shadowing a major drug dealer.
Oh,
just for an entire week,
like a drug dealer apprentice.
Yeah,
I would take over the family biz if
Yes.
something were to go wrong.
Yep.
The thing is I would imagine they'd be like, guys, we're not. My accountant says we're supposed to put this on our taxes, and they're like, "That's not how this works, Billy." And I'm like, "Well,
are we going to?
We don't want to get in trouble with the IRS. Let's stick. That's my thing. Stick to one crime. You know what I mean? Let's not do the drug dealing and the tax crimes. Let's just do the drug dealing. Because then once you get into multiple crimes, that's when you really get in trouble.
It's hard to pay taxes on drugs.
Well,
tough thing to tell them.
yeah,
the business,
open a
you gotta
flower
front
All right,
shop.
Florida, here's the
Prescription,
thing.
and the pharmacy. Yeah.
Exactly. All right, are you guys in disagreement with me?
No, I'm actually
If you're
in
gonna
big
crime,
disagreement.
crime small, or
I
crime
think-
big, but focus on one crime.
I think once you become a drug lord, it nothing else matters, Billy.
Really?
That's what I'm saying. Once I
Right.
dip my toe in, I'm all in.
Right.
I'm not dipping my toe in. I'm cannonballing in.
That's
this
how
thing.
you get caught, I feel like.
I saw Stugotz this morning. You mentioned crime here, and I wanted to bring something up with you guys, and I wanted to explore this because I came in here today a bit helpless in a way that was uncommon, Stugotz. And I saw you. I'm coming in, and you're in the parking lot, and I'm I don't know how I looked to you, but I felt a bit violated because and Stugotz looked in my car after I told him what had happened to me. He looked into my car and he's like, "Oh my God, no wonder you feel violated." So I'm running late to work, and I get into my car, and as I'm getting into my car, I notice that everything that was in the glove compartments and everything is just all over the floors. And clearly my car's been broken into. Like my stuff has been stolen from inside of my car. And so this is how my morning is started, where I'm just dropping into the car and now noticing, like, why is everything all over the place? How did this happen? And thankfully, like, they left my insurance papers and my registration.
Well, there's no value.
Thoughtful.
Yes. It makes me think of Billy as a criminal. Like, look, I'm desperate and I need things, but you know what? This person probably doesn't want to do the paperwork of having to go get their insurance
Not
against.
double inconvenience.
You leave like a 20. You leave
Billy
a
would leave
$20
notes.
bill just in case.
As a tip.
How does this keep happening to you?
I mean, it's where I live, and people are more and more desperate.
Are you parking street side or in a
no,
garage?
this was someone broke into our garage.
Is
I
your
mean, you
whole
also have a
top down? Could you do
convertible.
that?
No,
Yeah.
the top was not down.
You looked frazzled. You looked like you didn't look good. You looked like you were shook a little bit. And I understand why, because my car has been, I've told you the story before. Miami Arena with a Heat first played. I came outside at midnight. I saw from a distance that 2 crackheads were in my car smoking crack, and they took a bunch of stuff as well. And I called the cops on them. So
I am not
I
walking up to
understand.
my car in that spot.
I didn't.
I was going to say.
I called the cops, man. You think I walked towards the car? I walked back towards the arena, calling the cops.
Well, the desperation that is all over. My wife just, it didn't even seem plausible, and I didn't look it up. But my wife just said to me yesterday that most of half Americans can't afford their rent right now, and I'm like, that number can't be right. That half of Americans, like, there has to be something wrong with the mathematics, and I never actually went and looked it
That
up.
math makes no sense. Most of half is a strange.
No.
So like
More
like
than half?
75%
It
of
sounded
50 is
almost.
like
It almost sounded like he said most of
42%.
half Americans. So people that are half American, most of them.
this is a minority thing.
Forgive me. I misspoke because I'm frazzled because I got robbed this morning.
Right. Understandable.
Forgive any mistakes I made. I just explained it to you, looking for compassion about being feeling violated.
Well, you
Of
got it
course-
from over here,
And
Dan.
of course, you speak. Thank you, Roy.
Are you okay?
I mean, no, I feel violated. and
violated.
helpless.
He literally just said
I mean, no.
You have this weird thing going. I don't know what they did, but the lights on the right side of your car work, and the lights on the left side of the car do not work.
They steal your light bulbs?
Not relevant to this particular part of the frazzle discussion. I want to explore, and forgive me for misspeaking. Jeremy, you can look this up because it doesn't seem plausible to me that anywhere near half of Americans can't afford their rent. Like,
There's an article from Newsweek that mentions that the majority of Americans are spending greater than 30% of their income on rent and utilities. There is a Reddit post that just says half of Americans can't afford rent.
Most
That's
of
the only
half.
thing I'm finding
most
here.
of half Americans is what the
Okay,
the
so-
Also use Reddit.
regardless of how you arrive at the conclusion of me saying poorly that most half Americans and half of those can't afford their rent. The thing that I was saying about desperation is I don't even blame somebody who is so desperate that they need to break in and get more because people are in a desperate state. I sort of understand that if that's happening, that person needs whatever was in my car more than I do. I'm just asking the rest of you, have you ever been robbed and had the feeling of helplessness that comes with it? Because I really do feel like it's so invasive that it has altered me today, that I'm coming in here sort of discombobulated in a way I normally wouldn't be because I was robbed this morning and I noticed it while sitting in my car.
Did they change the seat settings?
That's a good question.
That's always annoying.
Yeah.
I mean,
No, they came in fast. Like, obviously they were
In and
panicked.
out?
Well, because there's so much stuff thrown all over the place. In fact, you guys can go take, my car's still in that state. You can take a picture or take a camera crew out there to show what
That's a bad idea
condition my
because
car
now they
is
know
in.
what your car looks like.
And it seemed like an
Right.
open invitation. Like, if you need to rob from me, you're allowed. And
Open
now
for
we're
business.
sending them
I
exactly your
understand.
car. It seems like a bad. Let's
Only
not
if
tweet out
you
a picture.
really need
Can't
it, though.
steal from Dan's car. I'm putting that right
Honor
now.
system.
You
If you
cannot
really
steal it.
need to, you can steal from Dan's
Yeah,
car.
just leave $20 $20.
I had someone steal a slip and slide and a radio out of my car once, and I felt like the slip and slide was not out of necessity. That was just a crime of passion. They love slip and slides, man.
I mean, we steal from Dan's company like every day. We did the Tony Show last night.
I've been stealing for 20 years.
I feel so violated and helpless, Stugotz. But I'm used to it. I'm like, oh, he needs it more than I do.
You are the type that I would imagine getting robbed and just being like, you can have it.
I was like that, but I'm still hurt by it. Like all they've left, like what they've stolen
What'd
from
they
me.
take?
Dignity.
All they stole is my dignity and my masculinity. Stugotz, we've got a lot of stuff that we're going to get to. Matthew Tkachuk, superstar hockey player, is going to join us later. The details around the Vince McMahon lawsuit are wildly appalling, like unbelievable, even if you thought you knew how awful this person was. And even if you believe in innocent until proven guilty and lawsuits don't make things so, the details are really shocking. Even understanding that this person is from wrestling and we all know he's kind of terrible. And furthermore, he gets to maximum win now because his company is worth so much and no one can touch him. And there's public shame, but he will reap many, many rewards. We are going to talk to the foremost expert about Vince McMahon, the person who wrote the book about Vince McMahon, about these lawsuit details in a second. And in a little while, Tony is chomping at the bit to talk about his evening last night, which is just to lie around on YouTube and let our audience watch him. He did a show, or punishment, for many hours last night. We will get to that in a little bit. The only part of that I want to get to now, though, Tony, that I didn't understand, because somebody has told me my father just got here and I wasn't expecting him. I asked him to come last night. Is he arriving 15 hours late?
Well, you know how it is on Cuban time, Dan. You say one thing and all of a sudden, yeah, I'll be there. So you said 10:30, right? Okay, perfect. No, so your parents wanted to go to the game last night. Obviously, I don't know why they lost by 33, not the point. But they wanted to go to the game last night. There was a ton of traffic for whatever reason. I don't know, something was happening on the bridge. They were trying to get
buddy,
over.
I can't make it.
They kind of gave me one of those, and I was like, no worries. Tomorrow we'll come, we'll hang out, we'll do the thing, and then, bam, they're here.
Are you prepared to do something with my father?
I'm always prepared to
All
do
right, so
something.
we'll do a Refran del Dia with my father.
We have a
here.
special one, Dan. This is not just a regular Refran del Dia. This has a chart. This has a graph.
Okay.
This is a very, very important one.
Well, how do you know if you spin a wheel and it tells you at the
No,
moment
because this
what
one,
you're doing?
because this one is not wheel.
a
This
fair
is
question.
different. We're gonna take a phrase and then we're gonna extrapolate on that phrase. So it's very exciting.
Okay, so it's a permutation. It's evolving. Refran del
Correct.
Dia is evolving. All right, we will get to that in a little bit. But first, Stugotz,
Yeah.
the stuff with Belichick, I think, is pretty interesting. I think even if you are unsurprised that Belichick has been let go by the Patriots, and I guess at this point we're unsurprised, but I'm telling you that it isn't in any way normal for me to understand that Bill Belichick is taking multiple interviews with the Falcons and he's not their choice. Like, even as Mina explains, well, his coaches are bad, he's bad as a GM, I just still can't believe what's happening to Belichick without Brady, that he appears to not have a job available.
Belichick has a job available. We just don't know which one yet. Okay, Dan? He is up to something. I am telling you, he is working back channels. He didn't want the Falcons, okay? The Falcons may think they don't want Belichick. What I'm telling you is Belichick didn't want the Falcons. And so Billy and I have been talking about this, and we think we know what Belichick is up to.
Yep.
Yeah, it's very exciting.
What is he up to? What do you mean it's very exciting? What's exciting?
It's exciting.
It is. Well, there are two things that he's potentially up to. One is Adam Schefter floated the idea on ESPN last night that perhaps he is waiting around, as I've said now for 2 weeks, for Andy Reid to retire so he could take over for the Kansas City Chiefs. How about that? I mean,
Schefter actually said that?
yeah, he did.
did actually
Yeah.
say that
Wow.
yesterday.
That's a victory for Stu.
Thank you. Thank you.
We did kind of have a conversation of, and you could hear it on God Bless Football out now. And by the way, vote for God Bless Football Sports Podcast Awards. This is the last weekend to vote. Sunday is the deadline.
How can they vote?
January 28th. Go to sportspodcastawards.com and then go to American Football. Then you can vote for God Bless Football there. We would appreciate it. We'd like to three-peat. Stugotz has promised us company golf carts if we three-peat. So,
I did.
Dan, I don't know if you're aware of that, but he told us that we would all get golf carts if we three-peat and that he would expense it to the company. And he even said, and this part wasn't, let me not say that part. Anyway, well, he said that there may be a fourth cart that gives away to a fan, is what he
Right.
said. But then we said legal would have to look into that, and
Yes.
that's not. So just be on the lookout for that. But you have to vote for us to win, and if we don't win, then there's no golf carts for anyone. Anyways, so
Legal disclaimer, I'm not giving shit to anybody for voting. Just
Well, I take
we're
it back.
clear.
I mean,
legal's looking into this. Legal's figuring it out. Yeah, someone will figure it out. Someone.
they should vote for this, but what's the remainder of this theory?
Well, if we were trying to piece things together. Oh, well, what we were talking about on Godless Football before we get to the theory is that Stugotz made up that whole thing with Andy Reid very clearly. And now
He goes,
Adam Schefter is reporting that as an actual possibility. So I tried to kind of break down with him how he feels about when he makes things up that end up happening, if he feels like happy that he figured that out, or if he feels upset that he's not given credit for something that he had absolutely no sourcing on and just completely made up. Because he was upset with Schefter, and I said, but
Right.
Stugotz, you just invented that. That's not a real thing. He now has sources.
He
that
saw
are
a
saying
tweet,
this.
I think he said.
I use logic, okay? He's 65 years old.
Okay,
he has a
we did that on
family.
the
He has
show.
things to do. But no, hold on. And then I combine that with
I
Peter
use
King.
logic.
With Peter King telling us that really what Andy Reid wanted to do was to be a journalist. And he still has time to do that. He still has time to be a journalist.
That's true.
As journalism is dying.
And you know, newspapers maybe,
Right.
since I can't find them anywhere. Maybe that's the career he should go into. Is Andy Reid indeed 65?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
But he's going to be replaced by like a 73-year-old, so it makes absolutely no sense.
71-year-old.
Yes. But the other idea that Billy and I were kind of floating around.
This is the big one, Dan.
Yes, and this was not on God Bless Football. This is fresh right here. We talked about it after God Bless
We
Football.
saved it just for the show, in
Yes,
fact.
yes, we did. Is the fact that can you imagine next year, head into next year, if Bill Belichick is a free agent and you're Nick Sirianni and you're down 14-3 against the Giants second quarter, and then all of a sudden on the big screen on the Jumbotron, there's Belichick's face in the stands.
He just starts traveling around, Dan. When things are going bad, it's just like it's almost like in wrestling when like a wrestler's gonna come over from like a injury or like another company and they just start teasing that person and all of a sudden like the lights go out and you just see like a flash of like not the person but like a symbol or something. We just start seeing Belichick symbols, or we start seeing, oh, was that Bill Belichick's face in the crowd? Like, I don't know. Or then you see like pictures that are taken on that weekend and it's like a picture of the sidelines and then Connor Stallion style, you just see Belichick in the background. And then people look around and they're all spooked. They look at the videos and they're like, was he there? Was he not there? And he wasn't there, but he shows up in the pictures. And he just slowly starts appearing in different places like that. Anytime there is some disarray with the coaching staff or with the team, Bill Belichick just seems to appear somewhere. Is that Bill Belichick in the rafters? Is that him in the upper
Billy,
deck?
I got it.
Is this him
Now
behind
he's-
us?
now he's
I
Sting?
got in my pocket?
Billy, I got
You
it.
turned him into Sting.
I
So
get
the
it.
stadium should have a hot seat that they put Bill
Love
Belichick
that.
in.
I love that.
Hot seat or not seat
Yes.
with a T.
You
Not.
guys you're putting Belichick in the hot seat? You're not
That's
putting
a callback.
Belichick in the hot seat.
Well, they have a hot seat next to Belichick.
Right.
So then the coach has to go sit there, and then Belichick rises.
So he's like a Coach
from the
Grim
stands.
Reaper, essentially?
Yeah.
Well, I
he's
like the
just
team
waiting?
sending out a message like, hey, if we don't start playing better, Belichick's coming to take your job. They posted on social media.
The one part, and I love the idea, but the one part that your theory has some flaws in it, because you say, can you imagine Sirianni in trouble? Yeah, it was 2 weeks ago when Belichick was available. Like, we could have done, yes.
No,
no,
you're missing the point.
Yeah.
When Belichick is available, every coach is in trouble. It could be Mike McDaniel down here with Miami.
But Stugotz, he's available right now, and
Yeah,
You
but you
don't
can't
get it.
fire most of these guys yet. But you can after an 0-2, 0-3 start. You know, big difference, Dan.
what was that sound?
Yo, well,
I don't know what it was. It was a combination of words, a sentence. It was, I don't know, like seven words
It sounded
in one.
like
Yeah.
a word,
You know?
a hiccup and a burp is what it sounded like
Yeah.
all together.
But imagine the pressure for these coaches knowing that Belichick's in the stadium at the game and they're 0-1 down 14-3 to the Giants in the first half.
Again,
Oh,
I saw it a couple of weeks ago. I don't need to imagine it. Like it's
You're not seeing it
you,
clearly.
you don't see it, Dan. You can't get
Sirianni-
rid of Dable today or Sirianni today, but you can after an 0-2 start.
But you could have 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
But that's the past.
and you can today as well. You can right now. You can right now.
Not today.
Yeah, but what fun is that? I mean,
Well,
How's he gonna? If he appears then at the stadium, it's empty. There's,
Right,
no,
that's
there's
true.
no fans cheering. It wouldn't make any
That's
sense.
true.
Why would they do
That's
it
true.
today?
That's what they shouldn't do.
Right.
They shouldn't
Ridiculous.
waste it. They
you need the
shouldn't
fans
waste
going,
it.
Belichick.
Sounds silly.
It's a good chantable name.
Belichick,
It's a
right?
good-
And every team can do it.
Wait a
Three
minute.
syllables helps.
That is a good chantable name to chant at Sirianni.
Doesn't have the same ring to it.
Does not.
Belichick's so
No,
much better.
It's more ominous. And you know what? Let's try this. I'm going. You know what? You're right.
playing the game. I like
Thank
it.
you.
Okay. We're in AT&T Stadium where the Packers have won more.
Well, put that behind Dan so we get an actual good visual right now.
Yeah,
immediately.
video. Get on it.
Yeah.
Yes.
AT&T Stadium.
So we're at AT&T Stadium where the Packers have won more playoff games in Jerry Jones's stadium this century than the Dallas Cowboys have won this century. After Mike McCarthy goes into the playoffs and Jerry Jones says, when asked, what's his future look like, his response is, we will evaluate it after each game. And the first game they had, an epic echoing disaster. If you were evaluating it, the way to evaluate it would be to say you're fired. but Mike McCarthy's not fired. But now they have started video. That is not what I want.
Is that Belichick?
I do
Is
not
he at
want
the stadium?
He wanted AT&T Stadium.
video. I don't want Belichick. Thank you for getting him out of here. I want AT&T Stadium behind me so that we can chant at Mike McCarthy, who has now started the season 0-3. Because there's not enough pressure on him that he has an owner who wants to eliminate him at every turn. And the only reason the owner hasn't eliminated him is because he doesn't want to actually work with powerful people. He wants puppets like Jason Garrett.
Right. You're headed in the right direction. Jerry has called the guy who's in charge of the Jumbotron and told them to put a picture of Belichick on the Jumbotron, and then the crowd.
All right, so video, if you can't get me AT&T Stadium because these things are hard to do, if you want to put Belichick or something behind me that motivates this crowd to summon the ability to haunt Mike McCarthy with the pressure of a chant, let's see how all of this feels. So I want you to imagine, CeeDee Lamb is complaining on the sideline. Dak Prescott has fumbled. No, he's thrown another interception after saying before the season, I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm not going to throw any more interceptions. Mike McCarthy is down 24-3 at home to his rival, the Washington Commanders.
Oh, wow.
Belichick, 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 My father is indeed on Cuban time in every way. He is always on Cuban time. I think he was supposed to be here last night. I think he's supposed to be in the studio now, but once he gets near or in the eating area, he doesn't come out of the eating area. He loves to be near the pastelitos. He says free is his brand, and I keep telling him, Poppy, that's not free. Metal Art pays for all of that. Like that costs money.
I think he's near the popcorn tin over there that I put my
he
hand
is.
in after licking my fingers a few weeks ago.
Chris Cody, do you? We've got a secret spy cam on Poppy right now. He'll be in here in moments at his own leisure. But I'm not being inaccurate or hyperbolic when I say, Chris, that last week you were trying to get my father into the studio. Like, this is a fairly aggressive thing we do. There's pressure on it. We're moving very fast every day. We're making a lot of stuff. Anyone who walks in here, they're always shocked at what like a train station this is, because everything's moving very quickly around here, except for my father. Chris, you were trying to get him in here for 15 minutes, and he was out in that area, not only eating a pastelito, but doing so without a napkin or without a plate. So crumbs are just falling all over the floor.
What does he care?
That's right.
Poppy
And-
has this way of being delightful and pleasant while like sticking a middle finger right in your face. Like, I'll ask, hey, Poppy, and I'll say it in a way like I like to be jovial, like, hey, Poppy, can we get, like, I'm never like, hey, Poppy, get in there right now. I'm always like, hey, Poppy, can we get you in there with Dan? And he just will be like, yeah, Chris, hey, Chris, how's the family? And then I'm like, wait, so, okay, it's good, thanks. Are you going? And he's like, yeah, I'll be right there. And then I like give him a minute, I walk away, and he's still in the cage. Like, he's always nice, but he never listens.
How's the family is a staple question for Poppy,
It's
right?
the only one he's got. He asks it to everyone. And it works. Like, it's been working.
Great.
It's been working for years. The other day,
But I felt like he only cared about my family. I mean,
my father's got a couple of go-tos that always work, and it's why they're his go-tos. Steven Jackson does a great and kind of racist impersonation of my father. Just a wonderful impersonation. And so I called Steven Jackson the other day with my father to excite him so that they can go back and forth. Steven Jackson's racist impersonation talking to the actual cartoon character. And so my father's like, Buddy! And he's like, Buddy! And my father's like, Steven Jackson! And he's like, coming up on this show, Steven Jackson! And they're going back and forth. And my father then goes to one of his signature jokes that always works no matter who it is. He's like, you're buying, I've got champagne taste and a beer pocket.
so good.
He's been doing it for 50 years. We will get to Poppy in a second here. But a fairly giant football weekend. And I'm saying that the best outcome is the Chiefs get into the Super Bowl on a controversial call.
Oh, boy.
What's the better outcome than that, please? Like, I don't think it's what's going to happen, but
Right.
it's what I'm rooting to happen, because with the refereeing crisis that they have in that sport, the content machine will melt down if that's what happens. And then we'll go flying into conspiracy theories. Like, very quickly, the whole thing's scripted.
Right after the game, post-game, on the way home in Baltimore, yes. You're thinking that because the NFL, perhaps, they want Taylor Swift, Patrick Mahomes, the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl.
The city of Baltimore is prepared for this thing to feel rigged, because of how obviously beneficial it is to the NFL to have Taylor Swift in the Super Bowl. She didn't want to be in the halftime show. And everything that happened after that, people have talked about the idea that everything that happened after that could look orchestrated. Why would I settle for just being in the halftime show when I can dominate your entire sport for the year and it serves everybody?
She's going to turn it into the Taylor Swift halftime show. Just her, they're going to keep showing her dancing.
they're
going
gonna
to
turn it into it.
Stavi kind of flipped me on this. I was always kind of like, I want to see the Chiefs go as far as possible. Stavi flipped me. I think I'm rooting for the Ravens now. I'm over the Taylor Swift stuff.
You talk about the conspiracy theories on if the Chiefs get in on a bad call, but can you imagine Swifties who have now dedicated their lives to being so upset that Mecole Hardman is getting touches, that if Baltimore gets in on a controversial call, what's going to happen on social media with the Swifties? It'll be a nightmare.
Swifties
That can't
arguing
happen.
like the definition of pass interference.
They'll be going into the rule, but guaranteed.
But, Dan, I actually meant to ask you this, and that would be fun. It'd be the best for what we do for a living, no doubt about it. But you love stories. You love guys who are climbing over stuff, right? You always talk about that. Don't you want to see Lamar Jackson? Like, everyone questioned him coming out of college. By everyone, I mean Bill Polian. But people
No,
question
a lot of
him.
people.
Okay.
A lot of people.
31 teams.
And now here he is, 2-time MVP. He hasn't made it to the Super Bowl yet. If he loses this game, he's going to get crushed. Aren't you rooting for Lamar Jackson to get to a Super Bowl?
This is what I am rooting for when I root for the stories and not the content, Stugotz. I'm rooting for just the stories. The Detroit Lions are obviously the more lovable story. Historic franchise, broken forever. It would be the greatest moment in Detroit football history for them to arrive at the Super Bowl, never mind win it. Then, on the other side, I am not rooting for the underdog in this circumstance. In fact, I believe that Baltimore is going to drag Kansas City, but I am afraid that Patrick Mahomes might be Michael Jordan somehow, even though that's not what I've seen from this team. And I suppose the couple of scenarios that I could see Baltimore losing is Lamar Jackson has a terrible game because Kansas City's defense is good somehow and he makes a bunch of turnovers, or Mahomes is some sort of legendary god and carries them there. But otherwise, I expect Baltimore is this far from being undefeated this year.
They're overwhelming.
In 3 games, Stugotz, they had the 3 games they lost, they had the lead in the fourth quarter, and it was a bit mystifying how they blew the lead.
Right.
Like, That team has been overwhelming all year, and I expect them to drag Kansas City, which is not something I'd ever say. At any year before this one, I would take Kansas City getting points in any game.
Right.
And for almost as long as Mahomes has been there, Kansas City getting points, and the line is climbing. It went 3, 3.5, 4. It's going.
I think it's 4.5 now, actually.
The money expects the possibility that Kansas City will look like they looked against Oakland and the whole other season, and that Baltimore's defense will do to him what it's done to everybody. They could be undefeated, but Swifties. But referees, referees and Swifties.
The Swifties are going to get our AI issue figured out too. Like that's what's happening now after some crazy AI stuff with Taylor Swift. Like the way that they all mobilized on social media, and now Taylor Swift's going to potentially file a lawsuit. I mean, literally, Swifties are going to influence regulation in this country.
Tony, let's do this here. You're wandering around with a microphone. Do you have the Cuban strength to drag my father away from the pastelitos in an expedient manner of time? To get my father in here to produce Refran del Dia. There he is. Right. Poppy's in the house. He's busted up.
Bobby, take this seat. I don't give this seat up to anyone, but take this seat, Bobby.
Wow, the highest honor.
Yes.
Thank you, Stugotz. This is Poppy, you still got a hangover. We need you at the microphone. Poppy, you talk into a microphone. We need you at the microphone.
Not know we're live.
No, we're live, Poppy. Yeah. Poppy, be careful with everything you say. Put your headset on, Poppy. Free. That's my favorite. I know free is what you like. Poppy, we need you at the microphone so that people can hear you.
The height of technology coming in behind Poppy here.
A little bit of a hangover.
Because of what the Celtics did to you?
I was celebrating last night. This guy exposed a new contract just before the game.
Eric Spoelstra's new contract you were celebrating?
Was that 15 years, $145 million or something?
You're down on Spoelstra again?
No, I'm not down. I said I was celebrating his new contract.
Okay, you're not down. Thank you. Tony has behind us a tribute to his self-involvement and narcissism, which is last night's Tony show. Papa, you were supposed to be here. Traffic got you. What happened?
Oh, yeah. I was on my way, but the traffic was too bad coming out of Miami Beach. So
Tony, we're going to do that later.
Yes.
We're not going to do
turn that
now.
thing around.
Okay, I've got something here that we've never done before on this show.
Just flip it over.
I can't flip it over. It doesn't work that way, Billy.
Flip it over.
No, it doesn't
Yes,
work.
it does. It flips.
I'm telling you, it doesn't work that way. Okay, guys. Here, the unveiling.
A chart.
The first time ever. This is a very important chart, Dan. And what we're having here, and Bobby, I'll obviously let you lead the way when I go through these. This is the Me Cago anger chart.
Bobby, what does Me Cago mean?
I shit.
So, in the Hispanic culture, we like to shit on a lot of things, right?
That's true.
And what I did is I separated it between the anger levels of internal anger and external anger. Dan, as you know, you can say me cago on a lot of things. They could be internalized, or if you do it like the person that robbed your car, me cago en Ed, right? Or ella, whichever. So, we're going to start here at
This is uniquely Spanish phrasing. This is very common. What are you shaking your head about, Billy?
He doesn't like anything I do, Dan. Who cares? Keep it moving. All right, we're going to go with the lowest anger level, which is, Papi, me cago en tres.
Yeah, I shit in 3.
In 3, inexplicably. We don't know why. That's low level anger. Me cago en 10.
Yes, I shit on 10.
I shit on 10. We don't know why we shit on numbers, but we shit on numbers for whatever reason. Me cago en mí.
Yeah, I shit on myself.
So, yeah, but when you're upset with yourself, let's say, something happens, you shit on yourself. You're very upset about it. Me cago en la mierda.
Yeah, I shit on shit.
I shit on shit.
Why not?
How could this happen? I'm shitting on shit.
That is correct.
And then also, Papi, if you add re at the beginning of something, it obviously blows through and makes it much higher of an upsettance. I don't even know if that's a word.
That is not a word. Upsettance is not a
I
word.
think it's a word.
I just made it up.
Upsettance is
Anger.
not a word.
Works for me.
Thank you, Stu. So, me cago en la remierda means I'm shitting on major shit. We keep it moving. Now, this goes into the internal anger, the external anger. Me cago en ti.
I shit on you.
I shit on you. Why'd you do that to me? You bumper to bumper. You hit me. Me cago en ti. Okay, this is the one that we've covered on a Refund del Dia before, which is me cago en tu madre.
Oh, no.
But there's varying levels. No, hold on.
No, that's one of the words.
Now you've got two
No,
for
but
it.
that's the worst.
There's varying
That's the
levels.
worst,
No, we
Poppy.
haven't gotten
That's
to the worst yet.
I
That's
can't
the
go in
worst.
there. No,
That's the worst one.
We also have
There's not one worse than that.
the
There's not
qualifier
one worse
of
than that.
me cago en la madre que te parió.
Poppy.
Oh, I shit on the mother that gave you birth, but that's not
That
nice.
birthed you. All right, I can't do this anymore.
Got it on.
I have one more. I've got
Belichick.
one more.
Belichick.
Me cago en la pinga.
No, get that out of here. Bad judgment. All of it bad judgment. All of it. Just get out of here.
Shut it down. Shut it down.
Shut it down.
I spent so much time on this.
Shut it down. It is-
I spent so
gotta
much
go
time
back.
on this.
This is.
I gotta go back to the spread.
My father needs to go back to the spread. Thank you, Poppy, for all your contributions. I want to apologize for everything that just happened there. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
You know what?
That's it.